email. It's called structure variations. So today we are going to talk about, to introduce you about different need structures we prepared for you, so you can determine what kind of pattern you will add to your structures, especially your native membrane. And you can open the Rhino file and the Grasshopper file online. I've sent them to your emails.
Mm-hmm.
So some people may wonder, why do we introduce patterns? It like very decorative things and not essential to architecture design, but actually by those pattern variations, fiber structure variation, we can tailor the material properties. Like from our point of view, the quality that allows light to penetrate, or the whether this cloth is breathable, and also we can add the surface texture to it. So like the case Mariana Popescu mentioned, when it's used for formwork, maybe it is useful to keep the concrete not moving, not sliding on the surface of the fabric. So it does have different properties. So, but and today we are going to show you some to let you know a bit about it, but what's their potential and what property they can prohibit, you can explore with them. Virginia, if you have anything to say, you can add anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything to say, but
Okay.
it's straightforward to me. Has everybody got the file downloading?
Yes.
Great.
So in this Grasshopper file, I've enabled all the batteries, so you can enable them and show them. So you can. 哦，这是吗？啊，So I go around to see if anyone opened the Grasshopper properly. Okay. I think I add a launchbox component there. I didn't recognize it is an extra component. So if you have difficulty, you can download it from Rhino Food for Rhino. But currently, or it is just pattern. I can also introduce that pattern logic to you, so you don't necessarily have to open that file. Yeah. Some students have found this Grasshopper add-on, and I will send you later, so you can install it properly. So first, I would like to share my screen. Okay, so here you can see my screen. Here's a basic structure. Today we are going to use. It's a two-color arrangement with this tubular structure. And to make this fabric stable, we also add a third curve, third yarn. So typically we use 3 kind of yarn to knit the structure. And the dimension of this knit structure I sent to you yesterday, the knit height and knit width. So you can, based on the density, you can calculate where each knit is located on the surface you created for your model. And for this pattern, one of the advantage is that you can randomly distribute the material where it is needed. So like this one, it has the rhythm of AABB, ABB. You can change it to whatever you want. So it's a kind of very flexible structure. You can, yesterday we give you a model that you can select mesh faces according to curvature variations. Then you can develop your own distribution of the pattern over this area of mesh. Maybe just random like this. And the logic can be informed by structure analysis tools like this millipede one. So you can generate the white and black color for the analysis for shell system, and distribute your pattern according to the thickness of the local surface. And also you can do like Karamba analysis and following the stress trajectory or following the stress quantity, you can determine where to put your reinforcement. And also you can impose geometric pattern onto that. And like this one. So apart from this very basic structure, this is a two-color tubular structure. We will also offer you extra structure variations today, so you can have a try and knit small sample. If you are skilled enough with those extra knit structures, you can also integrate them with your own design. I mean, the design you provided for the first day. So the extra one solution is this knitting with optical fibers. And the when you determine that you would they are represented by this line of pixels. So you just need to draw lines. I use 3 different colors because we insert 3 optical fibers there. You can also add more or less, but please don't add more than 5. Otherwise, the machine don't have enough yarn feeders. And also be careful, this line curve cannot go back, because uh, for a knitting machine, when it's read these joints, it reads from the bottom line to the top line. So if your glass fiber is like this, it cannot knit upward and then go backward. So the line always go up in one direction, but it can have some curvatures. And extra 2 option is this with 3 color lace holes. So you can determine where maybe your fabric can be as transparency as those parts, and other parts can be opaque as this part. So this is just the pattern. This pattern is in the Grasshopper Fire, so you can design your own pattern and knit this flat version as a sample, or you can integrate this pattern into the design you produced yesterday. And the third option is to knit these ribs. So you can add very rough texture onto your fabric, which is might be very helpful when you are doing fabric formwork to stop material sliding on the surface of the fabric. And also it will increase the thickness, effective thickness of this fabric. Here is the example that of this very basic structure. So it's basically flat, and the pattern is random, so you can determine whether what pattern you like, or just randomly distribute it to individual knits, or just this very geometrical patterns. It's just the color variations, doesn't have texture changes. Yeah, this is the structure of it. And you can, from this very basic structure, you can also use different yarns. Like for this red one, you can remain it as the polyester yarn, but for the white one, you can use spandex, which is very stretchy, and so it can shrink. So the other part will wrinkle, creating another surface effect. So you can have, it does have some different tactile texture and property. And for the last, this one is also very flexible. You can try it. It is made of 2 kinds of yarn. The white yarn are very thin, and the black one is thicker. And the arrangement of the pattern is also very flexible. And this part is more transparent. So like if you are, because some of our students are making chairs, and also some are making structures, you can consider how our body, when touch the surface of the chair, maybe it needs some breathable holes. So maybe you can consider this kind of structures. So this part is breathable. And if you consider to see through your structure to create some kind of transparency in the membrane, you may consider this kind of structure. So some parts are transparent, but some parts are opaque or dark. So it's up to you to play with these structures. And I think, okay, I will show you briefly about this Grasshopper Fire. So it basically tells you, so this is the drawing for, I showed you to create the task of inserting the optical fibers. It is just create, I can explain you the logic. So I create a lot of nodes represent which are my need points. Okay, where is it? Okay, I create those points as grid, and then I determine the curves. Like this one is my, I want to insert it this way and this way. And then I just select the nearest points to that and render them. So you can okay. So it's quite simple. I'm just showing how to select the path of this optical fiber, and also you have to scale it. Like this is the actual size of the cloth, but you have to scale it into a pixel drawing, because for each need it is a rectangle. It's not a square, not one-to-one. For pixel it is one-to-one research. Just scale it with non-unified scales. And for this one, it is okay. This is the pattern I create, and so it's kind of similar. So you create those need points, and you can have B-wraps or mesh of your pattern, and then select the nearest point to that, and you can create this two color patterns. And the last one is this one. So for the ribs, you have to make sure so it's a repetitive pattern. Like you can create it 3 lines for repeat unit, or you can add more lines like 5 or 4 rows as 1 lines to that. So the ribs are actually created like by this unit. You can determine the lines here. So here I give a number 4. So for 4 is the basic loop, and the first 3 will become the rib, and they have a 1 row interval in between each other. So you can adjust this number really to have a test. Oh, okay, it's an advertisement. Sorry for that. Yeah, it's very red. Okay, so today I didn't add much things to that, and also the creation of different structure patterns is up to your choices. You can also remain to the very basic structure I provided to you, or you can challenge yourself with the new structures. You can integrate it with your design, or just need a simple plan sample. It's up to you. Yeah. And I'd like you to explore more in this courses, because I've ran this factory for 3 days, so you can try your best to meet something and have an experience of that. Besides, last day yesterday, sorry. Yesterday, I forgot to say the procedure after you generate the leading code in your random file. How do you process it in Photoshop? So today I will add to that part. I will take example from our students to show you the procedure, how to process it. 你那个是几乘几的？你给我的 PDF。对，就是把压缩成像素的那个大小，压缩成几乘。那个 bounding box 显示的几乘？是多少？200。12。So or， 哎，你这个怎么处理过的 PDF 啊？不是你直接导出的 PDF。哦，对，你现在打，sorry。我的手。你再下载发我一个吧，就是你刚导出的那个。发了吗？发已经啊，微信已经发了吗？没有收到。对，没有收到。啊？我已经上网了。Okay. So this is from Chen Zhishen in our group. This is the image he explored. So I will drag this in PDF and then I crop it So don't leave any white edge. It's exactly the size of this peak. Crop it, and then tell me the size of this pixel is 205 plus 252. So I change it. The image size is 205. It's not right. 照亮. So it should be when you type one, if it's linked, it can automatically turn. Okay, let us have a try. And be careful when you are choosing the option. Please choose this one, Alt 7. Otherwise, like this, you have two different color of pixels. They will become gradually change. They don't have a hard and right. Okay, it looks something wrong. Yeah. So the number he gives me right now is not right. I'm asking him to give me the right number. Just wait a minute.
I talked with a little bit for the phone, so the size is different from the, I've said it to you a long time.
Okay. Okay. So from the Grasshopper, I've added those bounding box and also to see its width and height, so you can follow this number. Oh yeah, so it means when I type 221, the height becomes 278.6. So it matches what the Grasshopper tells you. So then you can then click OK or yes here. Don't forget to choose this one. So now you kind of zip it into a pixel file. So every pixel is clear. You don't have a color in between these two color and the white color. And then you can see, as I mentioned, for knitting, if you start from, let us, if you like, let us count. If you start from one direction, like here, you start knitting here and then turn back to the next row. And when you are knitting the following row, actually, you are losing the connection here, right? So you cannot create continuous path here and here. So the knitting process will be interrupted. The way to fix this is choose all the left edges. I just give you a brief example. All the left edges. I just choose a small part. Oh, so pay attention when you're choosing the area. Don't give it any number here. Otherwise, it will create some gradually changed pixels. So it's not hard edge. And then if you move it upward, you press Option and move it. Okay. So then we can now simulate if it starts knitting here, like this way. You can see it's zigzag and the path is always continuous. So, so when you zip it into a pixel file, the first thing you have to do is to move all the right edge, like this one, this one, this one. Can you tell? So the neat part is here. This is the right edge of this part. This is the right edge of this part. And this is the right edge of this part. You just move it upward or downward for 1 pixel. Then it will make this picture neatable. So I just take this one section as the example how to operate. And this is step 1 is to zip it into scale it into a pixel drawing. Step 2 is to move all the right edge by 1 pixel to make it neatable. And the third step is to choose those areas. You can see, I can show you a picture that has already been processed. Like this one, you can notice here, I pick some points here. And also I use a different color to label the points here. And also on the top, we have 2 different colors. So for this knit, it is called decrease. So I can show you a very simple drawing about this. So decrease is like this stitch. So, you know, knit fabric are loops interlocked with each other. So for this stitch, if you left it alone here and will not knit it in the following step, it will not be locked, so it will loose. The one way to deal with it is to lock this stitch by this stitch. So we have to transfer this stitch to that. So because it's a different machine action for different from those operations, so we have to label this stitch out. Like for this one, we label it in red. And also, you can see here, we also have this decrease. But the difference, why I use a different color, because you can see there's only one decrease at one row. So here we only have one stitch need to transfer. But here we have multiple stitches. This is the case for cast off. So we cannot transfer all those stitches into one stitch. The knit hook would be too small to hold all of those stitches. So the one way to deal with this kind of situation is to lock those stitches by the stitch next to it. Maybe it's a little bit abstract. I think I can. Virginia, do you have any drawings or examples of the cast off edge of the knit structure?
Not easily available, but I mean, I think that the diagram here is explaining it, that when you cast off, these are going to kind of loop together, so it becomes a separate piece, so that it's not going to be loose and unravel. But yeah, you can't pull all those stitches over to the one loop, because the yarn will get too tight and break, and it could break the machine needles as well. So yeah, I think if you Google it, you can find some.
Yeah, it's like this. So lock each knit with the knit next to it. So it's a totally different technique. So we label them in a different color to let the technicians to know how they are going to end those stitches. So here, the third step is to label out the decrease And also we have to distinguish the left decrease and the right decrease. Because for us, it is always same because it's like moving to its next stitch. But for machine, operating from left or operating from right is totally different machine action. So we have to label them in different colors. So like this one is, we give them red, and this one is dark red for cast off. This one is dark green for cast off to right, and this is light blue for decrease just the one nick. So after label, after those three steps, you are creating a properly nick join for importing to the software. So if you have any questions.
So
one question, sorry.
yep.
Why do we have to move the boundary on the right side up 1 pixel?
Because the knitting path is a continuous path, right?
Ah, okay.
So imagine we are using a single line. So the carriage moves from left to right and to right, from right to left for the next row. It's a continuous zigzag process.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can imagine. So each row is corresponding to each knitting needle. And here's a needle bed. So if this line they need this length, and then so you can follow, this is already an optimized drawing. So you can draw a zigzag line here, continuous zigzag line representing the knitting path. But if you are not moving the left part, like I can show you, so you cannot make it. So if you start knitting here and then next row stop here, how can you connect with this line? So when you turn back, there's blank. So you are just leaving a float line here, maybe, so it's not properly knit.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think the alternative way would, like, if you don't copy them up, you need to paint this little square that, oh, I can't color very well, but you would need to paint that new color. So you could go through and just paint each square or add a square one by one. But these ones need to be a different color to show that next step, because if you remember, each one of these little squares kind of represents one stitch loop, right? That's connected to the row below it, right? So if you leave just some stitches hanging here, you need to tell them what they need to do next. So if you add that other color, like the blue was representing what it wants it to do is cast off, so that these stitches aren't hanging anymore, but that they get casted off in this row. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. But now in this sort of shape, if we say we have to move up on the right side, if you can go back to the one that isn't finished yet.
okay.
And
Yeah,
here,
you have to move up all the edges that are unfinished, right?
here,
So not just the right, the left also.
Aha, all right. Okay. Both
She was
sides.
just showing just the right as like a sample because she was zooming in so you could see it.
Ah, okay. All right. Because I was wondering if I move up the right side in this part of the graphic, then nothing really happened. So I want the right and the left.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So everybody clear with this drawing process?
Yeah. For this one, though, this drawing,
like to mention
the pattern right now is purple and orange, right? So if you want to create a new pattern, right, like the ones that you showed today, that would be a different pixel pattern, right? So you might want to do this process to the edges after you decide what kind of decorative patterns you want. If you want this one, or if you want one of the new ones that she showed today. correct?
Yeah. So like here, the orange one, you have already selected all the needs in this area. You can determine the pattern. So you can randomly choose them, or you can assign them values, structural values, or whatever values you have, and to choose them according to certain rules to create pattern. It doesn't necessarily have to be this block like pattern. Yeah, you can create your own.
Any other questions?
And also, I'd like to add that so the process that I told you today, like move this part upward and also adding those 4 colors to the decrease and cast off stitches can be written in code automatically. But this time I just show you how to operate them in PS to make you more clear what's going on, why we select these needles. And so later on, if you are interested in developing your automatic knitting generation program, you can develop your own based on this logic. Yeah, the logic are similar.
Yeah, I think if you look at like today, Mariana Popesco, or yesterday, she showed her knitting pattern, right? And it's very large. So she obviously didn't go through in Photoshop and color each pixel. It was automated to generate that pattern from the code and into all the pixels. But when you're working with kind of a small pattern like this, it doesn't take too long to do it by hand in this way, and you can have a better understanding of exactly which stitch is doing what, so you don't have to worry about any mistakes in the automated pattern, and you can really understand what you're doing and why, and imagine each row and each loop when you look at all the pixels.
Yeah. And also some students, I think maybe it is a little bit confusing to some architecture students. Why are we doing this small pixel things? Why do we determine the pattern and each need? It seems not so important to architecture. My explanation is that this is where the potential of the need that conventionally we architecture treat material at the scale of meters, but now with this needs technology, we can operate and define the material properties at a millimeters scale. So we work with individual fibers, and also from the samples I show you today, we can determine what fiber we use. Optical fibers, polyester yarns, or spandex, or maybe some carbon fiber or glass fiber. You can mix all kinds of different material into a very thin piece. So you can make a very intricate piece of cloth just using this technology. It is a really powerful tool for you for material exploration and also for new potentials for architecture design. Did I make it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so just let us go on the work continued by yesterday. I think many of us have already produced the drawings, and then I will walk around to see if anyone needs further assist, and let us make some physical prototypes today.
Yeah, and those who are online students, do you want to share your screen and show me your progress and ask me questions? And then we have to make sure that you share your files with some of the physical students to help you physically knit your samples as well.
Thank you. Okay.
Also, I don't know if any of the students who are in Shanghai want to share their work with the online students as well, since I'm sure that those who are online would be curious as to what you're doing.